Hey Marvel, I'm just gonna make you this video uh, and teach you Git. I know you don't feel that well right now, but yeah, I hope when you feel well you can just watch this video and type along. Um, yeah, this will take a while to teach a nice introduction to Git, and I'm recording it for other people who wanna see it. Um, yeah, let's just get started. So Git, is a version control management system, and basically what it does is it tracks changes in files, and um, the the nice thing with that is that, say you have like a Word document, that at least that not a Word document but like a text document, has like final version, and then suddenly you need to uh, update that final version, and then not to confuse yourself because you want to have a backup of your actual final version, you call it final version, and then at one point you'll have like 10 text files that are like final really final version dot text. And uh, well version control in general is made to prevent this. Basically you just have one folder, and in that folder is everything. So let's create that folder. I don't know, code. We're going to write some simple JavaScript in there, and some actual Git stuff. So um, Git is made by Linus Torvalds. He is also the creator of Linux, and yeah, he made a program called Git because he wasn't really happy with all the other version control management systems out there. So, well, that happened. Anyway, so Git. So suppose you're creating a JavaScript file, right? So let's say you have uh, fruit equals. So we have an array. We have apple. We have a banana, and we have, what's nice, mango. Yeah. And let's just say that we print this to the screen, just wholesale. This is our amazing self-promotion. Okay, cool. Print it to the screen. There you go. Fruit.js. Cool. So, and we also want to run this in the browser, so we need to make an index.html. Hey, I'm making a video for you. Is that okay? Yeah. So we're gonna include it. And call that index.html. Now we have two files, right? Cool. So they are there. Let's go to iterm or terminal. You can use both, right? Doesn't matter, but I just happen to like iterm. So when you go in there, you see two files. And when you go to code and you go to index.html, sure enough, you see an array with apple, banana, mango. So, well, that's nice. So let's say, you're like, cool, so I want to version control this. Well, when it comes to version control, there are two things you need to think about. Wait, let me cancel my messages. have two things to think about in terms of where to put it, and that is your computer, and it is online. At least that's, I mean, I'm talking about simple case, right? So your computer is called the local repository, or in technical parlance, it's also called downstream. It's not always true, but I mean, you know, you just get started, so it's true enough. And well, online could be, I don't know, GitHub, GitLab, bitbucket, could be anything. And they would call it the remote repository, or in a lot of cases they would call it upstream. And I'm teaching you these terms and saying, oh, well, your computer means downstream, your online means upstream, because if you just have the simple case, that is actually true. Like once you start having multiple repositories and you know you have complex stuff, then it really depends. But the reason I'm teaching you this is because sometimes you get error messages with the word upstream or downstream in it, and well, for a long time I didn't know what they meant, and I was just confused by the error messages. And well, now you know. So first we're gonna do some git setup on our computer, and that basically means that we're gonna do that here, right? So first we need to, the first thing we need to do is initialize our Git project, and you simply do that by typing git init. And well, you see a couple of things happening. Initialized empty git repository and users Melvin blah blah. And you also see a master here. I think in terminal normally you don't see that, but well, I have iterm with a thing called what was it again? Oh my ZSH. Let me just Google that. Oh my ZSH. Yeah, that one. This one. So it's quite a thing to install. Like yeah. But once you install it, you get what I just have, and we are in a thing called master. Now the thing is, this is where the wackiness could start, because you only initialized it. Like there's nothing there yet, but there's one thing there. But there's nothing there yet in terms of like Git is all about commits. In my mind I always call them save points, since I'm a gamer and they well, or an ex-gamer, and they look a lot like save points. But what is there already is that there is this file now, folder called .git. So when you look at that, and you can see that when you do ls, well, not this ls, because this ls is you only see non-secret folders, and the dot folder on Mac and Linux is secret. So to do a little bit more effort, and here, sure enough, here it is, right? So we have a folder called .git, and that is basically what git init does. It initializes this folder, and it's storing all the changes that it's tracking, it's storing in that folder. You don't need to do anything with that folder, but it's handy to know it's there, because if you say you want to remove your Git repository locally, you just remove this folder with rm-r.git, and now it's gone. See, I also don't have a master anymore, and now I need to do git init again in order to initialize it. Cool. So, okay. So let's now you know, do what git does. Let's track these changes. Let's save these changes, right? So before we do that, you need to know a couple of things, a couple of terms in order for like the standard workflow. Like what we did until now is like you know, local setup. And this is what I'm going to show now is basically the general day-to-day workflow. And the general day-to-day workflow works as follows. Well, first terms. So when you code, right? When you code in this folder, which I conveniently called code, right? This folder is called your workspace, and your workspace is means nothing more than as a term like the place that you work in and the folder that you work in. So it's a really general term. So but Git uses, I think Git uses the term workspace. So the folder that you work in. No, not the current folder. No, the folder that all your code for your project is in. I think it's a slightly better definition, right? So so that's basically like normal day-to-day life. Like in a sense, you could call anything a workspace. Like any folder that you work in is a workspace, and that's cool. But Git calls it a workspace, and I think I've never seen it in the error message, but oh well. Okay. Okay. So then the thing is, you're like, cool, but I want to save these things. Well, the thing is, when it comes to saving your files, right? It basically has two steps, and the first step is you add it to a place called the staging area. And the staging area is, well, is in my opinion, like, I was compared to like a play. So say you go to an opera or a play or a ballet. My Dutch is interfering here. Ballet. Well, then you have a backstage, right? And in my opinion, the staging area is kind of like the backstage, because just like the backstage, the staging area is a place for where you prepare stuff in order to, when it's finally done, you get stuff done. And once you have everything ready, so once everything is ready, then you commit it. Then you commit it. Yeah. Then you commit the whole. Then you commit all the files. No, sorry. All the changes of all the files in the staging area. And the end product of that is then that you have a new commit. And the thing is, in when it comes to GitHub, like from a practical point of view, this is what Git is: just a series of commits, a series of saves, if you will. So like if you go to and the way I always draw it out is like, this is a commit, and then this is a new commit. So say, I don't know, you saved your first 3 lines, you saved it in here. And then here, I don't know, you created a completely amazing new feature, and then you go further, and you created 2 more new features, and then here, you created a whole web app, and it is just like amazing. A whole web app. Yeah. So now what Git does, right? On top of the switch. So what Git basically does is like, when you say, well, I don't want the web app anymore, I just want these features, then Git basically says, okay, well, that's quite simple, isn't it? Like, it just goes to like, okay, we're just gonna ignore this commit. Like, it's not deleting it. Well, you could delete it, but in a lot of cases, it's not deleting it. It's just saying, we're just gonna ignore this commit. How does it do this? It does this with this thing called a head. So normally, you have a thing called a head, it's basically just like this a you are here sign, so you are here, but Git calls it a head. You are here head. Well, okay, that's a bit unfortunate. Slash head. Yeah. Oh help. Save us all now, for I'm terrible at paintbrush. Oh god. You know what? Wow. That's fun. Dum, dum, dum. Wait. I'm such a silly person. Yay. Okay, so well, this is no, we're not doing this. So yeah, that one. No. Okay. Well. Okay. So you have you are here / head, right? And then let's say that you want, but I want to see the changes of this thing, right? Then basically what Git literally does is it basically then says, okay, well, cool. It just puts the pointer to here. It basically says, well, then now you are here. And you know, in Git terms, it basically says the head has now changed to this commit. And the reason it can do that, well, okay, not the reason it can do that, but just the way I remember it, the way it can do that is because all these, damn it, wow, all these things have like they have like you know, they have their own names. Whoop. Yeah, shouldn't have done that, I suppose. They have their own names. And I'm gonna show you right here. Hey. And these names are like random numbers. It's convention to show the first 6, so let me just do that. So let's say I call this ABCDEF, and this is I don't know, whoop, and this that's one, and this one is yep, and this one is something like that. But yeah, might be. Yeah, I think this is. I think you can have a number as a first thing. Yeah, I think so. So they might be hexadecimal though. I'm not sure. But let's just. Oh wait, you can just. You need to delete them. So I think I'm actually wrong with the whole just randomly typing stuff in. So let me just type some hexadecimal stuff in order to make it a bit more realistic. Cool. All right. This is where it's at. So, but basically, in my mind, this is how Git knows where it is, because these things clearly, at least for Git, right, they have names. So, and that's and like the head keeps track of this. So, and in your view, this means that it's kind of like that this whole thing is just ignored, and that's really what it is. Now, there's also another thing you can do, like you can actually delete this, yeah, that's then, and then the head would also just go here, but that's a different thing that I'm talking about. So basically, that's the cool thing with version control. You can just, you know, you can just move the head. You just move the head, and you know, you then get to see the code in your workspace. So that's also a thing you need to realize, that when you have a commit and the head moves to that, it means that it's really cool to see in your Finder. If you open your Finder, all these files they like change, and I'll show you how to how that happens. So this is like this is like the basis of Git. This is like what Git looks like. It looks like a giant ball of commits. It's like, sewing stuff or something. So now one other thing is, now you see a single line, but like in reality, ooh, licorice, cool. In reality, you can have like multiple lines of commits going everywhere, because they can branch out. I'm not gonna discuss it here, but I just wanna make you guys aware of the fact that Git can have branches, and basically what that means is that you just have multiple, multiple ways of tracking changes. No, that's not the way to explain it. The reason why this happens in reality, and they can, by the way, also merge. So let's say this merges here, for example. The reason this happens is because maybe this is, this is like the, say for example, this is like the production slash things should not break branch. So they call these things branches. So that's this thing, right? And this is the we can experiment whatever we want branch. So you like to keep those things separate, right? You like to keep this branch separate from that branch, in terms of like, well, you don't want to have, if you have really unstable code here, you don't want to put that in your stable code base. I'm not going to talk about branches, because in my opinion you only need one for like the stable, for the introduction workflow, but you do need to know that this is what Git is, like as a general conceptual overview, because if you know this, then it's later a lot easier to understand what Git is doing. Cool. So I showed you that this is how you save your files. The thing is, you need commands for this, because we're going to use Git on the command line, right? So you have a workspace, you have a staging area, and you have a commit. So, and these are like places, and in my mind you always then have a way to transition from one place to the next. If you want to transition from your workspace to your staging area, so that basically means you want to stage a file, you type git add. You don't, by the way, you don't type this. This is more like a symbol for like, okay, this is a command. So you type git add and then your file name. So in this case, for example, git add fruit.js and git add index.html. So then they're there, right? Now say we want to commit that, then we type git commit -m. We made our first commit. So -m means message, and it is mandatory, so yeah, you need to type it. So let's do that. Git add fruit. Okay, and by the way, for the expert Git users, there are other ways of doing it and adding it all in one go to the staging area and stuff, but like this is the, if you just want to get started with Git, this is really the way you want to do it. So now we see a plus. This plus means we added some to the staging area. Now if you wanna like see what's in the staging area, wow, I just forgot this command, but I normally know it. If you want to see what's in the staging area, you have a certain command for that too. Oh yeah, it's called get status. So with get status, you can see what is added to the staging area. It's a very important command because it allows you to see where you're at, right? And what is maybe untracked or, well, extra information. So it says this file is untracked, and it's true. Like Git is not currently tracking the change of index.html, but it currently is, tracking this because we just added it to the staging area. So let's add index.html as well. Now in my workflow, if you think you're done with adding everything to the staging area, always just type git status to see, and you then check to see whether this is correct. You can't skip this step because otherwise, because I think Git becomes quite a bit more difficult the moment you make commits in the wrong way or you add wrong things to the staging area. Like sure, Git can like remove it and undo all the mistakes that you made if you don't go too far at least. But I think Git is like real life. Prevention is a lot better than curing. Especially when you're new to Git. So, and that's also good practice. So git status for final check. This one. And then you have them in the staging area. So, and then we type git commit. Let's give it a real message. Created first commit to have repo, which is up, repository up and running. Something like that. This is what I actually would do. So now when you type git status, you don't see anything because it says nothing to commit, working tree clean. Oh, so I suppose instead of yeah, I don't know what working tree means. So if you don't know what something means with Git, just really just do this. Be a bit of a, and also mostly, okay, this is a bit my opinion. No, this is my opinion. But go to Stack Overflow because in most cases Stack Overflow has better answers for this. Yeah. Meaning the location where your repository has been checked out. Well, checked out is another term. And the current where you are running with status command. Okay, it's still actually not clear. So that is a bit of for reality in Git that not everything is explained quite well. Okay, so they just call it a working directory. I think this is what I call the workspace. So yeah, well then at least they roughly all mean the same thing. So we made a first commit locally and we're happy. And now let's say we want to, we just want to make our program a little bit more complicated. So let's do that. So let's say with fruits, right? So and we came up with the idea that instead of just having fruits, we say, well, what if we, fruits have properties, like they have vitamins, they have minerals, they have calories, and what if we, want to make a calorie tracking app or something like that? So we, you want to change your code, obviously. So there are many ways to implement a calorie tracking app, but let me just create a simple implementation of apple, banana, mango. So instead of saying you have an array of apple, banana, and mango, you make them objects. So you're just gonna say, okay, okay, so I have an wow, sorry, blacked out. Okay, yeah. So you have an apple, you have a banana, and you have a mango. And then you say, for example, calories, I don't know, 100. and then vitamins. This would be an array because I can have multiple, right? So like a, something like this. Key. Then you have that for every one of them. Now, to make this example a bit more exciting, let's actually look it up. So Apple, because when it comes to programming, domain knowledge is everything. Oh yeah. What can't I just say? Calories. Yeah, really. Serving one size. 95. Vitamin A, interesting. C, calcium. Okay, vitamin A, C. Well, let's also do minerals. What does it have? Calcium and iron. What is the mu percentage? Oh, based on a. You could also add that. How are you gonna add that? Calcium, iron. How would you do that? Percentage. No, we're not gonna do that. But you could make them like objects. Okay, cool. Then, banana. 1 cup. No, I don't want a cup. Right, okay, banana serving size. So, 1 large banana, about 8 insulin is equal to 1 serving of fruit banana. 1 medium banana is about 100 calories. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do it differently. We're not gonna, we're gonna do it per gram because of calories. Otherwise, I have no clue how to do this. So 52.1. Banana. Since I'm trying to teach Git. 7. Oh, but then I also need to do the food information here. Let's see, vitamin A, calcium, iron, magnesium even. Oh, but the other website didn't say that. Magnesium. And let's see, vitamin A, C, and B6. Okay. And we have calcium, iron, basically, them again. Oops. Okay, long go. Whoa. Wait, is that a lot? Not sure. Okay, manga isn't clear on its vitamin A, but it doesn't matter too much. Oh, it also has more minerals here. Okay, I'm not gonna include those. Anyways, it has 59.8 calories. I don't know what this means, but it has a vitamin A, C, and traces of B6, I suppose, or well, some B6. Then you have minerals. What minerals does it have? Calcium, iron, magnesium. I'm learning a thing or two. Didn't know all these things have calcium. Why need milk? Okay, so now we have this, right? And then if you refresh this, Oh, we have a syntax error. Oh yeah, sure. So now okay, so obviously this is an update, right? This is an amazing update to our app. Right. I think I made a really silly JavaScript mistake. Dun, dun, dun. Is this so wrong, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Can't believe that I got that wrong. Oh well. Dun, dun, dun. No. Teaching Git, failing at JavaScript. There we go. No, we don't want this, do we? This makes sense. Oh, I'm such a wow. Right. The whole thing is an object. There we go. So this should work. Yeah. So okay, it works. So now you see the information here. So now we have this, right? So this is a lot more. It's really cool. So let's say, cool, we want to save this too. So we do git status. You see what's up, and it says, oh well, fruits.js is modified. So we're gonna add fruits.javascript file. Gonna commit created calories, minerals, and vitamins per fruit, something like that. So when you write a commit message, you really need to shortly and succinctly state what you did. And now you're done again. Now let's add one more feature, so we have you know, really a bit of, yeah, you know, 3 commits to play around with. I think 3 is the magic number for minimal examples anyway. So let's, you know, make a simple calculation or something. So let's make a couple of calculations. Let's say, what are interesting calculations with food? Well, okay, let's say you have daily intake, daily caloric intake men, and then okay, so they say, yeah, so okay, so daily, now let's say average caloric in men is 2500. And you have it for women. And then let's say sporting. Something like that. Sports. Yeah, that one. Just pick a number. Yeah, whatever. So much for privacy. Oh, here we go. Wow. You know what? Let's just make a number up. So the number is gonna be this, and I suppose for women it would be then this. Let's just do something like that. Okay, so now let's say we have a couple of questions with this, right? So since we know the calories of the fruit, you could, for example, say in case 1, an average man, oh wait, average caloric man, sport man, like that, and sport man. Okay, so let's say you have an average person eating, let's do there, average person, eating 5 mangoes, 10 bananas, and 45 apples. Okay, that's a lot of apples. 45, right? So, so we have, so it's gonna be fruits dot apple. No, sorry, you're gonna do it in mango dot calories times 5 plus fruits dot banana. What, call them bananas? Why? Oh, come there. Dot calories times 10 and fruits dot apple dot calories times 45. Cool. So then we're just gonna see whether that's enough, right? So so we're just gonna console log it. Yeah, let's just console log it. Calories case 1. So let's just console log these things as well, right? Supporting and average and that, and then average. So okay, so I know this is called git basics, and I'm coding more JavaScript than actually doing git basics. Why? Because I think in real life this is also more or less how it goes. And the problem with a lot of Git tutorials that I see is that a lot of Git tutorials aren't realistic enough, and well, this is also still a bit of a contrived example, but less, in my opinion. I think this is good enough for a comparison. So then you do this and so you can see that the calories case 1 is this. You could compare. I mean, I could like do Boolean statements and compare if it's really true, which you can already see. Like sporting people don't have enough, and men and women, if they apparently eat 5 mangoes, 10 bananas, and 45 apples, they have a complete meal. Yeah, that's what our amazing calculator does. So we have this now, so that's amazing. So you check with git status what's different, you add it again, and you commit created created a case for eating a lot of fruits, and see whether that is enough. Okay, that's not a really succinct message, but good enough. So we have 3 commits. Where do you see those commits? Because I painted drew this, right? But you don't see this anywhere. For that, you use the command git log. So when you look at git log, you see that this. So, well, what do you see here? Well, first of all, let me go back to here. See your commits, git log. So, first of all, you see that the head is here, right? That's a good thing to know. Now this is called master. So master is the name of your branch, And I think I said that before, but you know, it bears repeating because everybody watching this is supposed to know. So you type, so basically, let's say, well, this is production, so let's say this is master, right? In our example, and well, these obviously these things that we have, that I drew here, we don't have this. And like I said, in our Git workflow, or no, in a beginner Git workflow, you only just have you only have one branch, and you don't really care about the rest. So you just have this branch, and yeah, that's kind of it. Currently we have 3 commits, right? And currently our head is at the 3rd commit. So our head, oh help. Our head is here, right? It still happened. That's such a shame. Okay, so our head, okay, doesn't matter. Our head is here. And that's what you can see here. Now there's also on Mac this program called GitHub, not GitHub, but GitHub, and I think I have it. Yeah, it's free. That's nice. So yeah, that really helps. Code open. So here you see the tree visualized. I think that really helps. So yeah, 1st commit, 2nd commit, 3rd commit, and this is the name of the branch. You can do a lot with GitHub, but I would first recommend that you I first recommend that you use the command lines in order to get this up and running. Oh, by the way, when you do git log and you want to get out of it, you press Q for quit. So we're getting out of git log, press Q, quit. So the reason for that is because this is running secretly. When this happens, it opens up another program, and this program is called less. I can prove it quite quickly by just typing this, and then you'll see that you have more or less the same thing except for syntax highlighting. And well, less is a command line program, and what less allows you to do is view in the terminal, view a file in the terminal. That's what it does. So here's another one. And it opens less in the background. And I think what a lot of people who are starting out with Git don't realize is that Git secretly opens up terminal programs in the background. It opens up terminal programs in the background. The most notable of the two are common ones that I know. I don't know if it's actually the third one is less, and the other one is Vim. Now Vim is a bit of a mean beast because Vim is a text editor in the terminal, and you have a nice text editor called Nano, and it's like, you know, you just type, and you know, as you can see, it works. You see, I don't know, a roof. I don't know how to call it. A roof, and then an X, right? The roof stands for control, so it basically means Control X, and with Control X, you can just exit. The thing is, Git opens Vim. Now, when I just type in here, you can see. Oh, well, that went smoother than I thought. But basically, if I just type randomly, oh, well, okay, so let me just put it this way. Some like when you a lot of keys that you type, nothing happens in Vim, and that's because Vim is a bit of a mean beast. Vim is a text editor that has 2 modes of control, and I'm not gonna go get into Vim, but basically what I would recommend you to do is you need to learn a little bit of Vim, not much, but just a little bit, like about 15 minutes or so. And the way you learn about it is by typing in Vim tutor. And just make your thing big enough so you can read enough, and then you you need to see this, and just you know, just do this, and yeah, it already says lesson 1.2 exiting Vim, and text editing I think is still a good thing. Yeah, right. Yeah, so just like follow lesson 1, just lesson 1, and when you know lesson 1 of Vim, so this whole thing, yeah, if you just understand this, like the gist of it, then you won't panic when Git secretly opens up Vim. So I think when does Git open up Vim again? So I think it does that when Git open up Vim. Like, so you can also just, follow stuff like this, but I think this is the really first principle way of understanding it. So, okay, it doesn't, nobody answers the question, but I think Git opens up Vim, something related to commit messages. We haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, I remember. So Git opens up Vim when Git when Git believes you should commit. So now in all our workflows we committed stuff, but sometimes Git thinks you should commit, and that's I think when you do a bit more advanced Git. So I'm not going to go into it, but I think when you get up and running with Git, you eventually will get into it, because I think it will happen sometimes when it comes to between the interaction of Git and GitHub. And yeah, that's a bit of an issue, right? Because then when you, like, I don't know, you pull down code from GitHub to your local Git repository, and yeah, then it basically basically does this. It just opens up Vim, because it will ask you to create a commit message, and then you need to be able to do that. So follow lesson 1 from Vim tutor to learn Vim. Learn enough Vim to survive. Trust me, otherwise this is not nice. So cool. I would say regarding our JavaScript project, we're done, right? So now we want to put it on GitHub. Well, the question is how you do that. So I'm just going to create a whole new account with, with an email address that I recently have, and we're just going to go through the whole process, because it's quite a lot. So setting up GitHub. Yeah, remember, this is like I'm teaching you enough Git to like yeah, keep you up and running for quite a while before you need to know new things. So cool, github.com. Are you gonna do GitHub or GitLab? I think GitLab is a bit nicer, and it's not inherently different from GitHub in the sense that you can just download code from both places. So I'm actually gonna do it at GitLab, because I like GitLab a bit more than GitHub. First of all, GitHub nowadays is owned by Microsoft, and well, you can have your opinion about it, but my opinion about it is that I preferred GitHub a bit more when it was owned by GitHub itself. So I'm gonna go to gitlab.com, and I'm just gonna register. Also, it's a Dutch company, and I'm Dutch, so that's cool. Support Amsterdam or something. Full name. So my name is Melvin Roost. My username is gonna be MetaMage. That has been predetermined. Oh, I already probably am MetaMage on here. MetaMage Proton then, because it's gonna be with my Proton mail. So metamage at protonmail.com. It's a secure email thing. Metamage at protonmail.com. Password. Yeah, whatever. No, not whatever. This one. Accept it. I am not a robot. Register. Okay. Proto mail. Check your email. Yep. Okay. So, wait, what was this? Yeah, whatever. Confirm your account. metamage@protonmail.com. Password. Great. So now I am in GitLab, and so another reason, huge reason to have GitLab is because you can also create private repositories, and I think that's huge because I don't think you can do that in GitHub. You need to pay, and when you have a private repository, it basically means that nobody will see your code. That's a nice thing. So you can have public repositories, private repositories, and all will be good. In this case, we're going to make a public repository because, well, I'm teaching this to Marvel, and she needs to be able to do this for her teachers. So let's do it. Yeah, but before you do that, you need to set this thing up called SSH keys. Do you need to? I don't know if you need to, but it's definitely more secure. So so let's just do it, right? So what is SSH? Well, if you don't know, you just type in what is SSH and you'll have an explanation. It stands for secure shell, and basically the way I understand SSH to be is it's basically a protocol that allows for secure communication between two people. Now, the way I understand the way it works is you have a public key and a private key, and the way I always metaphorically think about it is the public key is like an actual key, and the private key is like no, sorry, so you have a public key and a private key, and the way I understand it is the private key is like an actual key, and that's a key that you keep. It's private, right? It's a private real key. The public key is not actually a key, it's a lock. And what you do is you send that lock to people. So what they can do is imagine that you have a piece of text, right? So you have a piece of text like this, and you want to wrap it up in a lock, right? So this is because it's like plain text. You want to wrap it up in a lock. Well, like maybe so. Yeah, you want to wrap it up in a lock, and then nobody, unless they have the right key, can access it. So the question is, who has this key? Well, it depends on what lock you have, right? So what if you use my lock, right? So let's say you use my lock, and there's this piece of text in there. So anyone who has my key, so only me, because I don't, I just only want to have my key, can unlock it. So if I then use my key and I put it in this lock, I can decrypt it, and that's basically the principle of a lot of private and public key communication.
Still going?
Yeah, I'm still going. Private and public key encrypted communication. I'm currently, by the way, I'm currently now at the GitLab part. I'm not doing GitHub because I realized that GitLab is better. And your teachers probably understand, they should understand GitLab, otherwise they're stupid.
Wait, but if we have to explain, like, because we have to work in teams and stuff.
Everybody should understand GitLab or GitHub. It doesn't really matter.
Can you use one and the other together?
Yeah, but then it does become more complicated. But it depends. So if you if you locally have them together, it becomes more complicated. But if one has GitHub and you have GitLab and stuff like that, that doesn't matter too much.
But I have the GitHub desktop on my laptop.
Oh, I'm teaching you everything by the command line because I think understanding, you need to understand the internals of Git in order to really understand what's going on.
When did you say so?
Anyway, so this is how private and public key encrypted communication works. So you basically, a public key, in my opinion, is like a metaphorical lock that you send out to people so they can encrypt a message by putting your lock on it. And a private key, on the other hand, is like a metaphorical key that you and only you hold as a secret from anyone else, so that you can unlock any message sent to you with your lock on it. Right? So an example is like I'm Melvin, and I'm putting and I give my lock gives lock to Marvel, and Melvin, yeah, and Marvel encrypts message by putting my lock on it. Public key. So in actual parlance, this is called encrypt it with public key. And then Marvel sends message to Melvin, and then Melvin decrypts it with his key. This is basically the scheme. So the thing is, though, we're gonna do this communication between you and GitLab. So instead of Melvin and Marvel, the messenger is you and GitLab. So that basically means that GitLab needs to know your public key. GitLab needs to know your public key. And they call this a public SSH key because the SSH key is the protocol. All right. Let's see. Chapter. Yeah. SSH and how does it work? And the thing is, I'm not sure if this is really what SSH is, but like, it doesn't matter. I'm just giving you an understanding that makes sense and is practical, and like, you know, you don't need to know more about it. But if you do, you can just type it and you can just look it up. Pretty sure that the computer file has a video on this. Yeah, so they have, well, okay. So we now have an account. So we first need to set this up, right? So we're gonna go to settings, SSH keys, and now what do you type here? Well, you basically need to create an SSH key. So let's get around and do that. So it's a bit of a shame that they maybe they do give a tutorial, because yeah, I think they should give a tutorial about these things, because it's quite a hassle. Well, this is how you create one, so let's do that. Okay, I don't want to save it in here because I think I already have this file, a file called id/rsh. So let's actually create another one. Users. So SSH. This is remember. This is a secret folder. This is a sorry. This is a secret folder .ssh and id underscore rsa is actually file name. So let's call this, I don't know, gitlab generating. Yeah. So gitlab metamage proton key. Then we need to enter a passphrase. A passphrase basically means enter a really long password. So, you know, instead of a word, you enter a phrase. So that's what the difference is. I'm just gonna enter a really short one because I don't care. The thing is, though, you do need to remember also your passphrase. Like, because if you don't remember it, your key is basically useless. So then it says your identification has been saved in this one. This is your private key, and your public key has been saved in this one. So this is the file that you need to share. So let's open it, and let's open it with a program called less. Okay. Let's open it in the program. Yeah. Really? That's weird. Oh, okay, there it is. So to recap, create key public and private key by this and read key out by this command. Okay. So here we go, reading it out. And you can give it a title, and I'm gonna say public key MacBook Pro. The reason you need to do this is because you need to give it a title, because you need to also know where your private key is. And well, my private key is on my MacBook Pro. So cool, yeah, key. And there's your key. This is your public key. Now GitLab knows about this. That's really nice. Let's see. Yeah, so they do PB copy, but yeah, I think my way is just slightly more easy. All right. I don't think the key is active though, and I don't think they are saying anything about it except for here, I think. Yeah, so it's this one. So now we need to make our key active, and for that we need to type this. This basically means start up this program called SSH agent, and you see it started because it says this. What you need to see is agent PID, which means process identifier, and then a random number, which is the number given by the operating system. That, you know, yeah, it's the ID that the operating system just generates for it. And then this SSH add is basically secretly a command by SSH agent, and you basically add. Well, if you really want to do it correctly, you can do it the way they did it, but you just type in your whole path if you really want to be safe about it. because again, I think the tilde sign, so this little sign is like a shortcut, but like if you don't know what the shortcut stands for, don't use it. Don't use what you don't know. GitLab, two GitLabs, proton key. Yeah, so you're adding your private key to your SSH agent, and I used tab for auto completion, which may or may not work with you. To the passphrase, and then it says identity added. I think you need to do this. I think you need to use this command more often. I'm not totally sure. So keep this command in some text folder or somewhere, just for if uploading to GitHub or GitLab or any site doesn't work, because then that means you need to add your key every time. And you know, you can have a really quick way of doing that. Just type Control R, which means you're doing a they call it, you're searching your history, and then when you type SSH add, you see the command there already. You can just press enter. So that's a quick way of doing that. So add your key to SSH agent. Yeah, whatever. Which is this, and before that you need to do this. And your private key. So we have done all of this. So now we have set up our private key and our public key on GitLab and our computer, so we are good to finally get started. It's a lot of work, and the thing is, it's just easier to follow it on this video and, you know, just swallow the pill whole once, as opposed to struggling and trying to figure this out yourself. Because when I did that, well, I eventually succeeded, but it took me days, not hours. Okay, so then we go to projects. We are go to your projects, I suppose, or just go to GitLab. We'll come see where. Yeah. So now let's create a project. Let's call it fruit calculator. I suppose that's what we made, right? Let's create a public repository. Initialize the repository with README. Yeah, you could do that. I'm going to show you what happens when you do that. So, but I'm first going to do it the right way. The right way, in my opinion, is to not initialize it with a README, because when you do initialize it with a README, you're creating problems for yourself. So, create project. And, well, basically, it says it's empty and all that stuff. So now what we need to do is we need to tell to our local Git repository in the setup of it that we now have a GitLab repository and that, you know, we want to connect to it. So how do we do that? Well, the real way is to yeah. So the real way to do it is you just use the link of your repository. Now the link, you have HTTPS and SSH, but we set up SSH, so we're going to use SSH. So this is our link, right? So when you use this link, well, not like this, obviously, you can upload to your GitHub repository. So the way you do that is by typing git push your link, and then the branch that you want to upload. So we have a branch called master, so we want to upload master. And boom. Our project is on GitLab. That's how you do it. Now, there are a couple of convenience methods. And people use these convenience methods so much that, that nobody explains that this is the actual way of uploading stuff to GitLab. They don't use these methods because the convenience methods are much nicer. Because as you can see, this link is quite long and you just don't want to type this link. You want to be able to just type the git push command. So what they do is instead of using this link, they make an alias or a nickname for this link, and the convention is to call this nickname origin. Origin as in not as in I think as in original, but more origin as in this is the origin of the online repository, something like that. But you can call it anything, right? Ooh, there's a mouse.
Oh. Cute.
So, for example, you could also call it GitLab, right? And I think that makes a lot more sense. In my opinion, you shouldn't nickname your online repository's origin. I think that's really
It's still there?
yeah, that's really a weird way of going about it. So you should so you should call it GitLab. So the way to do that is by a command called git remote. Remember that I called it in the beginning. Did I say any? Yeah, it's called a remote repository, right? So git remote and then add. And then add stands for add a nickname, but it just is called add. And we're gonna call our nickname not GitLab, because then it might be confusing when I talk about GitLab and GitLab the nickname. So I'm gonna call it 2_GitLab. So yeah, that also makes, I think, a really self-documenting, self-reading command when you see it later. So
how far along are you?
80% done.
Cause like it's 4 o'clock and
Yeah. No, this is everything you need to know.
About GitLab.
And GitHub. It's the same for GitHub. It's the exact same, just a different interface. But like, you can see and click. This is the same for GitHub in the sense that on GitHub you also create an online repository. I'm just gonna do it on GitHub too, just to like really prove it's the same. Like on GitHub, you also have an online repository. In GitHub, you also need to add your SSH keys, and you need to, you don't need to, but you need to have you might want to have a convenience name. So I call this to GitLab. So normally people call this origin, but I call it to GitLab. And then, so let's delete this repository. We're gonna create and recreate it again. So, we have a bit of a thing going for it. How do you delete a repository here? Oh, that's all new. Are there settings somewhere here? I suppose it's here. Repository. Yeah, there it is. Delete GitLab repository. Never done it on GitLab. Go to settings, advanced settings. Advanced settings, really? Is there an advanced settings? Let's see it. Is this way?
You have a bike, right?
De Herengracht. Huh? Dangerous settings? Oh, so they change it. Suppose that's the downside of GitLab. Default branch, push roles, mirroring, protected, deploy. Well, I suppose I really found one reason for not using GitLab. Apparently you can't easily, how old is this? You can't easily on the left sidebar once you're in. Maybe I should go to settings just in general. Just like, here's advanced. That's confusing. Archive, rename, transfer, remove. So we're removing it through, you need to type in the name of the repository, and now we've deleted it. Wow, that was a way to figure that out. Okay, so now we're going to create, again, yet a new repository, and now we use the alias in order to push it. So where do you add it? Well, you add it here. So with calculator, still not initializing it with a readme. Create project. Right. Cool. So instead of now using git push this whole thing, right? You can use you can just use this. So as you can see, this is quite a self-documenting. This is quite a self-documenting command, and yeah, this nickname really says what it does. So it's called to GitLab, and then you have the same thing all over again. So this is how it's done. But what if you do initialize the README beforehand? You make that mistake. It's a quite common mistake to make, which is why I really just want to go through it as a scenario that, yeah, like a emergency scenario. So I'm going to show how to do that as well. So now we initialize it with a README. And let me show you what goes wrong when you now want to push your stuff, right? When you use git push. So it says rejected. And then it says the update's rejected because the remote work contains work that you do not have locally. And that's because there's a README here. The way to resolve this is to first download from your GitLab repository. And the way you do that is by using git pull, and then you can either use, obviously, this link, and then say master, or you can say git pull. Well, okay, I suppose to GitLab is a bit of a wrong name now, but I do think you can change that. And then and then use master. So let's do that. Git pull to GitLab, just to really see that's like a name, right? And master. And then what it does is it downloads it and it tries to see if it can merge this immediately with what you created on your with what you created locally. Now the thing is though, when it does this, it does create like a new commit, because when you look at your git log, oh, it doesn't create a new commit. Oh, I always thought it does. Oh, fatal, refusing to merge unrelated histories. Oh yeah, right. So when you have this, merge unrelated histories. Well, it's a good way that we do this because this happens quite a bit. You need to just do a bit of an option flag. Yeah, this one. Git pull to gitlab master. Like this, something like this. Yeah, so now we get in Vim. This is Vim. So this is the commit message that you're seeing here, right? So GitLab now thinks, no, so Git thinks we need to merge, and sorry, Git me is saying like we need to make a new commit, and the commit is merge branch master of gitlab.com with the local stuff, right? And this is the actual commit message on the first line. What you're seeing here are just comments so that you can like see what it means. So please enter commit message. So you can just also, if you want to, if you know a bit of Vim, you can like just type your own message, right? Git gitlab. Oh, Git wants us to merge from GitLab. Normally, I would really not recommend you to type stuff in here because it's really not needed, but I'm just showing that you can. And yeah, the way you get out of this in this case is type :WQ, but really just type Vim tutor and you will learn the same thing, and you'll learn a little bit more just so you're really a bit more comfortable with how Vim works. You just need to know a little bit of Vim. And then it's done, and then when you look at git log, you do have yeah, you have two commits. Why do you have two commits? Because this is the commit made on GitLab and GitLab alone, right? And this was like a history that's unrelated to this history, and here they are merged. And when you look at GitHub, you open up the Git repository, you can see this. See, you can see that there is a thing called an unrelated history called initial commit, and it merged in a thing called head here. So yeah, GitHub is really a nice program for that. So now we merged it, and now when you type in git push to gitlab master, or the other command. So oh yeah, so when you type Control R, right, and you type in the command that you're searching for, and you type Control R again, you're basically cycling through all your commands. Wow, I did a lot of this in my work, I suppose. But you're basically cycling through it. So, and then when you press Control C, it goes away. And then when you press Control R again, you start from the beginning. So this is also the link that you can use, right? So, and now it actually is online. Beautiful. As you can see, so your local GitHub repository is synchronized with your repository online on GitLab. What do I? So there's still a couple of things I want to explain. Almost done. Almost done. Oh yeah. So git push and git pull. Git push, link, branch name. That's really what you need to do. Uploads it to your GitLab or GitHub. No, to your remote repository. GitLab or GitHub or bitbucket. Doesn't really matter, it's all the same. Bitbucket, and git pull link online repository. Now this is the same, right? That's remote. So this is kind of like the same idea. Downloads to your local and also merges it with your local repository and creates a new commit message in Vim. Under the hood, what gitpull does, gitpull is actually secretly, at least you're a beginner, so it's quite a secret, a git fetch command and then a git merge command. I'm not gonna go into that, but just so you know that like if you do these two if you do these two under the hood, you have the same thing. Though you shouldn't just type this, you should actually do a bit more. Plus some extra flags. Yeah. So now, okay. So Marvel, you were here just a little bit, and you are basically claiming that GitHub is completely different, and I'm gonna destroy your beliefs. It's exactly the same as GitLab, it just has a different interface. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create an account on GitHub. We're going to add SSH keys, but since we already have a public key, we're just going to reuse it and put it there. And we're just... No, because we don't need to do the whole thing over again, because locally we are still set up. We did everything. Yeah, and we are almost done. So, github.com. Trust me, this is everything you need to know for the workflow. You don't need to know anything more than this. And like when I did this, it took me days, even weeks to figure this out. Like I explain everything. I explain the internals. I explain why things are the way they are, and to just a deep enough level that you know enough to be dangerous. Oh, this is my own GitHub. We're not going to go to my own GitHub. We're actually going to create one. So pick a username, metamage. Yeah, let's also make it Proton. Oh. Okay. Metamage at protonmail.com. Create password. Okay. Okay. Sure. Love, life, and making people happy. Yeah, that's also fine. Okay. Oh, could skip it. Oh well. So now we have GitHub. So first thing again, we need to be diligent and add our SSH keys. As you may or may not remember, that is, you go to settings. Since we now created our SSH keys, this is so much more easy. So again, SSH key from MacBook Pro, because you need to know where your private key is. So again, I taught you the trick of Ctrl-R and then just searching up the command, because you might remember that it has something to do with SSH or less. I remember I had to do something with less, and you just find the right command. So less, and there we have it. So this is called GitLab metamage proton key, but it doesn't really matter. You can reuse this public key, because again, this is like your lock that you're sending out to people and they can use it to encrypt messages. So it doesn't matter that it is in multiple places. So I'm just gonna add this one. Saves us to reuse it. You can also create a new one if you really want to separate everything. I don't care. So here we go, and we add it. So now that this is added, we can securely transfer communication between us and GitHub. Cool. Almost exactly the same, just a little bit of a different interface. So now we're going to create a new repository. We're going to create it the good way, so without a readme, but you know what to do when there is a readme. Oh, please verify. Okay, verify. Oh, it's not Gmail, it's ProtonMail. Why do I use ProtonMail? Well, I use ProtonMail if I really want to send secure messages. Wow. Okay. Pipeline has failed. Interesting, because when I look here, it looks fine and dandy. Okay, a new public key was added to your account. Please verify your email. Verify. Okay, new repository. So, fruit. Oh, I can make a private nowadays? No, it costs $7 per month. I don't want it GitHub. I don't want anything. Oh yeah, so you also have a git ignore. You don't need to know what it is. You have a license. You don't need to know what it is, right? Well, a license just copyright stuff. You don't need to know what the git ignores, but it is good practice to Google it because I think in the introduction of GitHub, it really okay. I think people would argue whether you would include it or not, but I'm not gonna include it. But a git ignore basically, it's a file in which you put in file names that are basically ignored by the version control system. There are various reasons of why you'd want this. Anyways, we click on create repository, and then it gives us like commands and stuff, but all we care about is pushing it. You can create a nickname for it. So let's create, so when you type remote-v, you see, sorry, get remote-v, you see all the names that you have. I wonder if you can like change this one, the fetch one, to a from GitLab, because then you really have self-documented commands, and I think I would really like that. But let's say git remote add to GitHub, and then the link. Oh dear. Well, that went wrong, didn't it? So HTTPS type SSH. You need to have SSH. Git remote add to GitHub. Done. Can we do that? Git change fetch remote elements. Adding remote, git remote add, git remote entry. Git remote add fetch. That way. I'm just gonna ask the question. Add different alias for fetch for remote. Let's see if it already exists. Create fish alias or get adding get. Yeah, different from most fetch and push. Oh, wait, so could I just do git remote add pull from GitHub? Oh, yeah, fetch, it's called fetch. Git remote -v. No, no, it doesn't. Remote remove from GitHub. Git remote remove GitHub. Then when I have everything, you just see this. So is it really git remote set URL? Yeah, push to GitHub, and then this. This is a GitHub, yeah. No such remote. Oh, right. Git help, is that how it works? Git help remote. Git add with the F option is running immediately. Git fetch name. Rename the remote branch. Remove set head, set branches. No, I don't think it's here, so I'm just gonna ask it on Stack Overflow. Yeah, don't be afraid to do it. I want to have the following. Git remote -v. Let's take yeah. Yeah. I can have self-documenting commands such as git push to GitHub master and git pull from GitLab to GitLab. Mode add, but it adds for both fetch and push. I want to add as git remote such as git remote add fetch and git remote fictional to add a nickname alias for both push and fetch respectively. Yeah. So username and then repo name. So why am I still showing this in the video? Just because not only do I want to show how to do this, I also intentionally kind of want to show how to deal with situations when they actually come up. And asking questions on Stack Overflow is a really good way. All right. The small edit I want to make. Git add different edits. Cool. There's also obviously a really easy way to go about this, and that's not to say to GitLab or from GitLab, but just say GitLab. But yeah. Anyways, we're now gonna do GitHub. So that would be git push that and then master. Boom. There you go. I think it's done.
You finished?
I finished, and I hereby also prove that GitHub really isn't any different from GitLab. Let's see. Is there already a person answering it? No. Stackoverflow isn't that great. So this is literally all you need to know to have a solid basic workflow in Git, GitLab, GitHub, Vim, Less, Stack Overflow, and SSH keys and everything that's associated with it. Now, the moment you start to collaborate, there are a couple of extra things you need to know, and that's when Git really becomes difficult. Okay, that's a really bad pun, but then you need to understand about merging and potentially. So I'm not gonna for further learning and collaborating with others. You need to know about Git histories and Git branches. I think I quickly went over it, but it's really quickly. You need to know about merging, and if you want to be a bit more advanced, this is extracurricular, handy but not necessary. Rebasing. There are good tutorials out there, I think by Atlassian, merge, Reflux, check out, yeah, merge. Yeah. So, just go here, Google it, and rebasing, also I think by Atlassian.
Wil je wat kippensoep?
Ja, lekker. Atlassian, ja, Atlassian. Rebase. There you go. So, yeah, I'll put all, like this whole file, obviously, put it on GitHub on YouTube as well, so that you can easily copy paste it. Yeah, I think I explained everything. Let's see, there's Stack Overflow. Nope, unfortunately. Yeah, this is it. I really wish I knew how to do this. Can I really not find it? Git add fetch and push remote. Try it one more time. Atlassian. No. Oh, set fetch only remote? Maybe that's a good one. Oh, so one way to go about it is to just add both of them and then change the URL to something nonsensical. So, well, that's a bit of a hack, but it will work, right? So you can just do git remote add to, wait, what do we have now? We now have two GitLab. So that means we need to make this URL nonsensical. So git remote set URL push to gitlab. Oh no, wait, no, push, sorry, fetch. And then let's make the URL, since it's nonsensical anyway, let's at least make it self-documenting. So let's say no pooling or no downloading. Let's say no downloading because we're beginners, right? No downloading. Oh, fetch, sorry. Fetch.
No.
Huh? Good mods.
Ik ga toch geen kippensoep eten. Wil jij nog steeds kippensoep?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I would really like some chicken soup. Oh. Really? But would it then work for push? Yes, it would. What is fetch then? Git help remote. Can only do it for pushing? Really? Dash slash and then push. Let's search it up. Set URL. Push URLs are instead of fetch URLs. Oh, right. Can you still then do it? Yeah, I think you can. So, yeah, so that means, okay, yeah, you can still do it, but wow, you really need to hack it. You first then need to create a nonsensical name with to gitlab, and then you manipulate the push, and with the other one, you do it the other way around. Okay, cool. So that would be git remote. Well, first we need to remove to gitlab because it's kind of destroyed. So that would mean that you first need to say git remote add to gitlab, and you say no downloading. And then when you do this, yeah, and then you manipulate the push. So then you say git remote set URL push, and you go to gitlab. Let's just only do it for gitlab because it's a little involved. What? Oh, right. This push to gitlab, right? And then you have it. And then when you want to do from gitlab, right? You do git remote from gitlab. Git remote add from gitlab. There you go. And then git remote set URL push to no pushing. Oh, I'm doing it again. Git remote from gitlab. And then we do git remote -v. Oh dear. Okay, so I did it wrong because I mistyped. That's okay. So let's copy this and remove it, but also let's immediately add it. So from gitlab and git remote git, yeah, and then -v. Yeah, now you have self-documenting. So then you can do like git push to gitlab master, right? And it would work, but currently we don't have anything new, I think, so it shouldn't do anything. And then you can do git pull from gitlab master. So that's what you want to do. So this is not the normal way to do it. The normal way to do it is to call it origin. So it would be like git pull, or no, we can't do it now, right? But git pull origin master and git push origin master. But another way, another alias that I think is useful that you could also just do is to say git add remote and call it gitlab, and then that's what I would do, I think. Oh, git remote add gitlab, and then git h3, and then you have that for both, right? So that would be then git pull gitlab master and git push gitlab master. Remember, you can also just git pull, paste in the link, and then master, right? And git push. So, and how would you add one for origin? Remote add origin. So this is the conventional way of doing it. Git remote -v and git pull origin master. Wow, feels so familiar to do it. And git push origin master, right? Okay, this really is all you need to know. Cheers.